also was appraised at $20 million.
Well, that hardly seems worth stealing.
You're not a detective.
But I was an investigative reporter. It's an occupation that's been cheapened by the digital age, like President.
Earl Maurice Fletcher.
Well, bravo, men. As someone who has been a Fletch fan their entire lives, this is the dream. You are the dream.
Thank you.
That's very nice to hear. Thank you very much.
Jon, you're stepping into this role that has previously been made famous by Chevy Chase. How do you approach this character?
Well, I, like many, as you said, was introduced to this character through the Chevy films, and was a huge fan, and was a huge fan not only of this particular film, but of Chevy's entire career. I thought he was a pretty singular comic voice, especially of that generation in the 70s and the 80s, which is dialed right in for me. So that is what drove me to exploring the series of novels that Gregory McDonald wrote, starring our man Fletch, which I was equally blown away by, but in a totally different way. The books are completely different than the Chevy version of the film, and I thought, wow, there's a real opportunity here to kind of expand and extend this character and see all the other adventures that the guy gets up to. And it's not dependent upon Chevy's performance. It could be something completely different. And then, it only took 30 some odd years for the rights to kind of fall down to me and come into my purview, and then find this guy who I've now worked with 3 times and come up with something really evocative and effective that we could then release for a whole new generation to appreciate this irreverent, funny guy who wants to get to the bottom of whatever bad thing happened.
Greg, you're EP, you're director, you're co-writer. What was your vision for Confess Fletch that you think brought this to the screen, finally make this happen?
Well, like Jon said, we went back to the tone of the books a good deal, and I wanted it to be kind of a comedy of manners, to be less, maybe perhaps slapstick and broad, things I love, but this I felt like is very dialogue-driven. The books are very dialogue-driven. They're very character-based. There's a lot of weirdos that come through the books, and that's kind of typical of detective stories. One of my favorite movies is Maltese Falcon, and it's filled with all these great characters, Peter Lorre and Sidney Greenstreet. And so I thought, what fun to take Jon, unflappable Jon Hamm, and put him in the middle of all these strange people and watch him do his thing to get to the bottom of it. And Gregory McDonald wrote a great character in Fletch. He wrote a guy who I think has a real code, but he's got no problem breaking the law or telling lies or doing what it takes to get to the truth and not waiting around for the process to happen.
I've been figuring out, for me, a character, it's not like I become someone else. There's always it's a piece of me. It's an extension of me in some way. I don't, I pull from me, from what I know. And with her, I think deciding to make her a larger than life presence. And I think the key for her was, my girl has agency over who she is, and she knows what she deserves, and she knows where she should belong. And if she's not there, then she's going to find ways to get there. And once I kind of figured that out, it was quite cool, because it's a cool place to live in, to exist in, especially as a woman. Like, I deserve this. I belong this. So it was quite freeing. And I think that allowed me to go full force, to kind of go all in with how she speaks and how she moves and how she communicates. I think that's kind of how it happened. And I think being with Jon and doing that with Jon and him creating a safe space for me to do that, and Greg Mottola, the director as well, made it much easier.
Well, my cop character is a new father who is exhausted. And so, 6 years ago, I knew that I would get this role. I knew that Fletch would be rebooted and rewritten and cast by Jon Hamm. And I decided to have a child at that time and become an exhausted new father. So that 6 years later, when this all came together, I knew, yes, I have been prepared. Like when actors say, this is the role I've been training for, this is the role I have been preparing for. It was very fun, for me. The preparation was in, going back and watching the old 80s classics that I've always been a fan of. I'm sorry, that's my mama calling to tell me how proud she is of me. Hello. Hey, yeah, I'm proud. I love you too, mama. All right, I gotta go. Bye-bye.
Should have had her stick around, Roy.
Yeah, my mama don't be wanting that. No, but I read the books. I went back and read some of the old Fletch books, and you get a vibe of the cat and mouse of this. And to me, it is a mystery.
I like how hard Grizz tries. I think, for so much of our lives, we're all trying to act like we don't care about things to be cool, but she cares a lot, and she doesn't care who knows it because she just wants to do a good job. And so between Roy and I, his whole MO is I want to sleep. And mine is I want you to tell me I'm doing a good job. Stay awake, doing a good job. And so that's a fun, different energies to play with.
Watch Confess Fletch for the rest of your life. September 16th in theaters and on demand. You're welcome.
That's a no-brainer.
That's amazing.